Hi guys, this is Whitney. This is a yoga art space studio here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I'm presenting to you today a few things regarding stress. So this is yoga, essential oils, and a meditation practice to help out with stress. So why am I bringing up stress this day? It's a good question because I recently read that stress is linked to the 6 leading causes of death. So those 6 causes are heart disease, cancer, lung ailments, accidents, cirrhosis of the liver, and suicide. Stress is linked to each and every one of these. Stress also is what causes 77% of the doctor visits. In some way or another, it's all linked to stress. Our society is so fast-paced, so dog-eat-dog, that it's harmful to us. It's so painful. And so because of this and other similar diseases that we commonly go through in our society, I've decided to create these series where we talk about how we can use natural things, yoga, essential oils, meditation, to help us out through these common problems that we have. So each week I'm going to take a simple topic like stress. I'm always happy to get other recommendations for things that you'd like to hear, but other things like stress, like the thyroid, like liver care, just all sorts of things like that. And I'll create these tiny little videos to give you some ideas of how we can use these natural things to give us these solutions that we need in our lives. Now, the FDA would be a little bit sad with me if I don't make this following disclaimer. So my disclaimer is that yoga, essential oils, and meditation are not meant to replace healthcare. They're not meant to replace the doctor's visits, the medicines, anything like that. They aren't meant to diagnose, to treat, or to cure diseases. Rather, they're natural options to help you with some of the symptoms that may arise through the disease process. So who am I? I'm Whitney. I'm a teacher and the owner at the Yoga Art Space Studio. One of my biggest passions is to help people to help heal people, to help people find the solutions that they need to the common problems in their lives. Now, my journey has had quite a few different things along the process. So I originally was a biology major in college, so I have quite extensive knowledge of the biology of what happens in the body, especially when these disease processes happen. Through my journey, I became a yoga teacher. I'm currently a yoga studio owner, and last year I also decided to join forces with doTERRA to help bring essential oils around to people for these natural solutions. Now, since this is a live video, know that you can ask me questions. If I get any questions during the live feed, I'm happy to answer them. If there's any questions after the fact too, this will be posted on Facebook, on the website, and on the YouTube channel that we have. So even questions later, I'm always happy to answer, so feel free to reach out to me. You can always reach out to me with our website, the contact us portion of it. The website is www.yogaartspace.com. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, stress is linked to some of the biggest causes of death that happen in our society currently. There's all types of stress. There's emotional stress, physical stress, performance stress, all sorts of things like that. So it's important to remember that stress itself is not necessarily bad. Stress is meant for temporary solutions to a problem that's immediate. So physically, what happens with stress, imagine a zebra being chased down by a lion. In that case, stress is very, very useful to help that zebra run as fast as it can, get its heart pumping as much as it can, get the muscles working so that it can do the best that it can to survive in that situation. The problem is, though, when the zebra is no longer being chased by this lion, there's not a problem in its world. It'll go back to eating grass, to hanging out with its buddies. There's not a problem in the world after that case. With humans, though, we have the ability to think to the future, to think to the past, and so we hold that fear that, what about tomorrow? What if the lion comes and eats me tomorrow? Or that fear about, wow, that was a very traumatic experience. We hold on to the past, the future, and that makes it difficult to live in the present moment because we're living so much everywhere else. So what are some of the things that happen to us when we have that type of chronic stress where we just can't let go of it? There's many things that start to happen inside of the body. So some of the major stress hormones are the adrenaline and the cortisol. So when we have continued levels of these high stress hormones for long periods of time, then there's many problems that arise. For instance, those hormones make it so that the blood is drawn out of the systems that normally need blood to thrive. So for instance, think about the digestive system. We want the digestive system to be good and healthy so that way we can metabolize the food that we eat. So the problem is when blood is drawn out of that system because of stress, we have constipation. We have other problems, just like a lowered metabolism. Nobody wants that. Likewise, the blood is brought out of those slower systems and brought into systems like the lungs and the heart, the circulatory system. This leads to high blood pressure. This leads to increased risk for problems like asthma, emphysema, different problems like that. Hyperventilation becomes much more common. And then one last thing I'd like to mention is that with the liver, when we're under those stress hormones, when those stress hormones are coursing through the body, the liver produces glucose. For that immediate situation, that immediate stressor needing to run away, that glucose is very helpful. But when we have increased levels of glucose chronically, that increases that risk for developing diabetes, especially type 2 diabetes, those that are already prone to that. And so all sorts of problems that happen, I'm sure I don't have to continue to talk further about this, but all sorts of problems do happen when we do have that chronic stress constantly. So now we'll go on to some of the solutions. So here, first I'd like to talk about some yoga poses that help with stress, and then we'll talk about some essential oils, and then I'll guide you through a little mini meditation that's specifically meant to help us release the stress and the tension that's in the body. So first and foremost, let me get you situated at a spot where you can see me as I'm doing some yoga poses. Okay, so this is me on my mat over here. The very first yoga pose that I'd like to mention is a series called Cat and Cow. So with cat and cow poses, what this does specifically is it moves our spine forward and backward, and this is almost like a little massage for our kidneys and for our liver, helping those to get the extra blood that they need to be nice and healthy. So I like to bring a blanket underneath me to have some padding for my knees, and then you just have to plant your hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. When you exhale, you rise the spine up. That's your cat. You look like a Halloween cat. And then for the cow, you drop the belly down and you gaze up. So follow the speed of your breath for this. Exhale is the cat. Inhale is the cow. And so just follow that speed of breath. This is a good one to take at least 5 cycles, especially in the morning. Just following the breath. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Back and forth several times. Okay, so that's a good one just to help massage the kidneys. The kidneys are in the back. Now the next poses, they go together. So first I'm going to show you puppy pose and then child's pose. So with puppy's pose, you leave this 90-degree angle in the hips. The hips stay right over the knees. And then you start walking the hands forward, stretching the heart down. Here, when you relax the forehead down onto the ground, the forehead touching down, that's actually very calming for the nervous system, especially in this pose and in the next one, child's pose. It's actually an acupressure point. When you put the forehead down onto the ground, even rocking left and right with the forehead, it stimulates the nervous system in a very calming way. So puppy pose is good at stretching the spine and also opening up the heart space. So you'd want to hold this one for around 5 to 10 breaths, just relaxing the heart down. The forehead goes left and right, rocking back and forth. And then after you spend some time in that pose, you'll sink the hips all the way back, enjoying child pose. Again, the forehead on the ground, rocking back and forth. The arms can be forward to stretch out the shoulders or even tucked back behind. This one's almost just like a comforting position. Very comforting for the heart, for the forehead, for the body. And so you can just rock left and right here. Good. So now there's just a few more poses I'd love to show you. The next series are several different types of forward folds. Forward folds are extremely beneficial for calming the nervous system and for giving our mind a chance to just relax. And so the first of these is a forward fold. You can stretch the legs out in front of you and just relax the spine down. Just relaxing, stretching the hamstrings, letting the nervous system calm down. Now, some people, when they do this pose, the hips are so tight, the glute is so tight that it looks more like this, the hips pulling them back. So if that's the case, you can grab something like your handy bolster or just a little block, something like that to prop up the hips. So that way the hips are able to tilt forward, allowing you to take this wonderful forward fold. And if you have a bolster or a block, you can always come into the restorative version by setting up the bolster in a way that you can just relax your forehead onto it, requiring less effort, less stress on the spine. Just relaxing forward, taking it that way or even higher if you need to. Okay, after you spend some time in forward fold, the next one I'd recommend is a cobbler's pose, the knees opening out to the sides just as far as possible, feet brought in as much as possible. Again, if your hips are tilting you back, just plant the hands behind you so the heart can rise up to the sky. And if you love the forward fold version, just clasp the hands together, the spine rises up tall, and then you start to tilt forward until you can relax down the forward fold, just stimulating the nervous system in a way that just calms, relaxes the body. So after spending some time there, you can rise up, let the legs go wide, and start walking the hands forward, taking this forward fold. Again, always remember you can bring the bolster in front of you for more of a restorative version, just relaxing the forehead down. And if you'd like to add in just a few bonus poses, you can always either bring the heart directly over one of your legs, trying to reach towards the toes, taking it on both sides, or even bringing the hand to the inside of the thigh and stretching the other arm towards the direction of the toes, opening up the heart to the sky. So these are the biggest poses I would recommend if you're under those stressful situations and you just need some time to calm down, you just need some time to yourself. Sometimes I'll even wake up early in the morning and just take a child pose. I need some time to stretch out my spine, to stimulate some blood flow into those areas so that they can stay healthy for me. Okay. So we've talked a little bit about some yoga poses for stress. Now let's talk about some essential oils, my favorite ones that I like to use when I'm stressed, when I'm anxious, things like that. So my first one is lavender. This is the #1 go-to for stress. This one, honestly, my favorite way to use this is in a diffuser, just allowing it to just spread out into the space. Sometimes I'll even put a drop onto my hands, and so I can breathe it in directly from my palms. Lavender, the best part about it, this one's so commonly used just for stress, for feeling good, for feeling calm again. Lavender is actually part of the doTERRA, the introduction to oils kit. The introductory kit is what it's called. And so it's the 3 most popular oils: lavender, peppermint, and lemon. So those oils, if you're just getting started, that's where I would go to start off, to get the 3 most common oils, those that'll help you through many different scenarios in your life. So if you're going to just one essential oil, go to lavender. The next 3 are essential oil blends. So this one right here is called Balance. This is a grounding blend, especially if the stress has to do with being anxious when you wake up, with being in your head constantly replaying all the different scenarios that go on. Balance is where to go, because you need to ground yourself into those low chakras. So Balance, my favorite way to use it is to take my finger on the top, tilt it, and then to rub it onto the bottom of my feet in the morning. That way I'm already starting off the day grounded, ready to meet all the different trials that come into my life. So that's the second oil I would recommend for stress. The third oil is called Past Tense. This one comes in a roller bottle. Past tense is especially good when you're so stressed that starts to create headaches, or when you can't sleep because of headaches, or you wake up with a headache because you didn't sleep very good. That's my most common thing is I wake up with headaches because my sleep wasn't enough, or the quality of it wasn't very good. So with Past Tense, my favorite way to use it is to take it and to roll it onto my temples, and then it's diffused across my face. You can smell it from being placed right there. And then you just close your eyes, and the headache, the tension in your head will slowly start to dissipate. So that's my favorite way to use that oil. And then there's one last oil that I'd love to introduce you to today. This is called Serenity. Serenity also has lavender in it, but this one is, like, I love lavender oil by itself, but if you're going to take a blend, this is the blend that I would use with lavender. This one is a restful blend. My favorite way to use Serenity is in a diffuser that goes right by where my bed is, and so that as I'm sleeping, I breathe it in, and it's just calming, soothing, bringing all those anxious thoughts to just a smooth, calm place. Not so stressful, not so anxious. Okay, so those are my 4 favorite essential oils having to do with stress. Now, if you're interested in learning more about these oils after I post this video, then I'm going to post info sheets in the comment section in the lower part of it. And so if you'd like to learn a little bit more about these oils, or if you have questions, remember you can reach out to me later to ask me about these particular oils, or others that maybe there's a certain type of stress, like a performance stress or emotional stress, that I can give you different recommendations for those specific types of stress. So definitely reach out to me. I'm always happy to answer questions. I just want your life to be happy, to be fruitful, to be full of peace and joy and light. Okay? So we've talked about yoga, we've talked about essential oils for dealing with stress that happens in our lives. Now the last thing I'd like to do is just guide you through a simple meditation. It's simple enough that you can listen to this video over and over, or you can just take what you learn and just think through the different things that I'll guide you through. Think through it, maybe right when you wake up. If you're already feeling anxious, let yourself just take a moment sitting down doing this meditation. Perhaps you find yourself stressed in the car. Don't close your eyes if you're in that scenario, but you can still do that meditation. Just, okay, I'm going to guide myself through my breath for the next couple of rounds. Or if you're right about to go into a job interview, or if you're at work and you confronted somebody in a very stressful way, things like that will absolutely, this meditation, you can take it into any aspects of life like that. So as you're in the meditation, I'd like for you to have a nice tall spine, If you're sitting up on a chair, that's fine. If you're sitting on a bolster, that's fine. You're also welcome to lay down as long as you don't fall asleep. So here, start off by just gently closing the eyes, letting the spine be tall. And with a comfortable sitting position, begin to count the breath. So we're going to count a cycle of 4 for the inhale and a cycle of 4 for the exhale. So it'll go like this. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Purposely being a slow, calm, steady count. So let yourself have several rounds of breath following that breath. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to purposefully make the exhale slightly longer than the inhale. So if the inhale is going for that same 4 counts, purposefully make the exhale 1 to 2 counts longer. So I'll count you through a few cycles, and then I'd like you to take a few more cycles on your own. So it'll go like this. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So take a few rounds of breath like that. Inhale for 4, exhale even longer for 6. Now this breath is extremely powerful because increasing the exhale changes the alkalinity of our body. It changes the pH, making it to a spot that's closer to that state right before we're about to fall asleep. So naturally this breath, having a longer exhale, will start to calm down the heart and bring you into a naturally more restful state. So this is a breath you can take with you at any point in time. As we continue into our meditation, if it's not too much work to maintain this breath, inhale and then a longer exhale, maintain that. Otherwise, if it takes too much work, just allow yourself to take a breath pace that's normal, natural, and comfortable. So here, we're going to scan through our body, and any tension that we find, we're going to imagine sending the thought to it, tension is no longer welcome, only open freedom. So we start imagining the top of the head, and if we find any tension there, it's no longer welcome, only freedom is allowed. And so as we send our breath to that area, imagine the tension melting off the top of the head. The top of the head is free and open. And as you continue to breathe, the forehead releases any tension. Tension is no longer welcome. It melts down the forehead. Tension is no longer welcome in the inner and the outer corners of the eyes or the temples. The tension just melts out of those areas, continuing to melt down to the earth. No tension is allowed in the cheeks. The tongue is released from the roof of the mouth. The jaw has no tension allowed. Any tension present melts down. Continuing to travel down, the neck is free of all tension. Any tension there melts down. Shoulders are free of all tension. Any tension in the shoulders just melts down. Any tension in the upper arms, the elbows, the forearms, the wrists, the fingers. Any tension melts down these areas, dripping off the fingers, because tension is no longer allowed in those areas. Any tension in the chest or the upper back melts down, no longer welcome in the body. Any tension in the heart space, in the lungs, in the abdomen, the middle back, the lower back. Any tension just melts from these areas, no longer welcome. Continuing down the pelvis, down the thighs, down the hips, down the knees, the shins and calves, the ankles, all the way down to the bottom of the feet. Any tension present flows out of those areas, melting down to the earth, no longer welcome in the body. And so now we feel the body free of all this tension. We feel the body open. We feel it alive. And so this is the space that carries us into the next part of our day, into the next part of our week, into the next part of our life. Body completely free of all tension, of all stress. So that wraps up this meditation. Remember, you can take that breath cycle, longer exhale than inhale. You can take this body scan, imagining all tension just melting away from the earth. You can take those essential oils, lavender, balance, past tense, and serenity. And you can also take those yoga poses to stretch out and stimulate the blood flow into the adrenal, into the kidneys, and into the liver, the heart, the lungs. You can take the forward fold options to just calm down the nervous system. So I'm going to post this video later on onto the website. It'll stay on our Facebook channel, and it'll be on our YouTube channel as well. So we'll be posting videos like this. We'll plan on doing it weekly, with next week being the 4th of July. If you have any recommendations, anything that you'd love to hear having to do with things that hold you back from freedom in your body. So whether that's something mentally that we're holding on to, whether that's something physical in our body that's preventing us from having freedom, or maybe even just something related to the 4th of July. If you're going on a hike, maybe you just want to know what I can do after a hike to help calm my muscles. Let us know what you're interested in hearing and seeing for these future videos, so that this content is very helpful for you. Remember that you can comment, you can like and subscribe, and we'd love to hear everything that you have to say about this. Any other oils that you've tried, any successes that you've had with yoga poses or meditation, we want to hear it all. And especially any questions you have about the yoga, the meditation, the essential oils, we want to hear it all. If you're either comment to us on Facebook, or you can reach us through our website, www.yogaartspace.com. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. May we all be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.